Okay, so this is the second video in our demonstration here for how to make our heads. I've made my 2 pinch pots, which is a classic hand building technique. Some artists just stop here and decorate a pinch pot and call that their project. But since we're making our pinch pot heads, we have a lot more work to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these together so that they make an egg. But first I have to do a couple of things. First of all, I want to make sure that the edges here will stay when I stick them together. Clay is basically just dirt and water. So if I put them like this and I don't do anything special, when the water evaporates out of the clay as it's drying, the clay shrinks and these will fall apart. So I need to do something special to these edges. It's called scoring, or just making lines. I like to use a fork because you get 4 lines at one time. So I'm going around the edge, making some lines, like this. I have to do this to both pinch pots. You can think of it like Velcro, how there's 2 sides to the Velcro, so that they stick. You want to make sure that you are making lines on both surfaces of whatever you want to stick together. And this is the technique we'll use to attach clay to clay throughout this project. It's not just to attach these things together, it is to attach anything together. Before I stick these 2 halves together though, I want to put something inside of here so that when I'm pressing down on my clay head working with the facial features, I don't completely smash my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some newsprint scraps, I'm going to crumple them up, I'm going to stick them in my head. You can stick them in there pretty forcefully. You want to really pack them in there, because as they get wet, they'll get a little flimsy. All right. Maybe just a little piece for this other one. There. Now, before we attach these together, we have to add some water around the edges. You can think of this as making clay glue. Ceramicists, or artists that work with clay, they would normally use water mixed with clay. It's called slip. We are going to just use water, and as you put the water on, you can see that it's making a little bit of brown slip on my finger anyway. So we're basically making slip right on our clay. Now I'm going to stick these together. When I stick these together, I'm pressing hard. You should be able to see some of the water bubble through and ooze back out of your clay. All right. So the last step in forming our egg is getting rid of this seam. I don't know anyone who has a big seam running through their head. So we have to use our thumb or a finger, and we're just going to smooth that seam out. So I'm just going to take my thumb and just go right over the top. When you're doing this, you want to think about moving the top layer of clay. You're not just pushing the clay together, you're actually moving the top layer, those little bits of clay, backwards and forwards to get rid of that seam. And you can press pretty hard. I'm pulling and pushing, I'm not pressing down. If I pressed down into my egg, I would make dents and weird marks. And remember, this is someone's head, and so we don't want it to look like they were dropped on their head. So we want to make sure that it's nice and smooth without any big dents. All right, so there's our egg. So now we have our egg head, and we're ready to move on to the next step.